With Democrats set to hold a key test on voting rights this week, Republicans spent a good part of the weekend in Florida stoking the flames of the culture wars.
The other night when I had dinner with all of the women senators, we didn't talk policy, but if the vice president had asked, I would have said, Madam Vice President, your next stop tomorrow morning needs to be at that southern border.
It comes as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is looking more and more like the new face of the Republican Party. Yesterday, DeSantis beat former President Trump in a 2024 straw poll taken at the Western Conservative Summit in Denver. So the question for Democrats is, as they try to turn at least to Biden's agenda and turn that into reality, are they aware of the politics they're up against? Joining me now to discuss, Kevin Sheridan, Republican strategist and founder of Sheridan Media, and Juanita Tolliver, Democratic strategist and MSNBC political analyst. Juanita, welcome to you both. Juanita, I'll start with you. Chuck Schumer is planning to force a vote Tuesday on the For the People Act, but it comes with a lot of consequences for Democrats, showing their hand right up front when it comes to whether there's support for the bill or not. What's the strategy here, and are the leaders concerned they may be boxing themselves in some kind of way?
Look, Michael, I think leaders are at the point of let's put this bill up, and anybody who's willing to oppose it via voting on the floor will have to expose themselves, because up until this point, it's just been a lot of hemming and hawing within the caucus to the point where it seems like Democrats are working against themselves. And so with Schumer bringing this to the floor, forcing Manchin to tell me exactly what pieces would you approve of, and negotiating in that public way, it's actually putting their feet to the fire to actually put up or shut up. And we know that this voting rights bill is essential, as the reporter in Texas just said. Like, this is something that we're seeing in a copy and paste format across the country, where voter suppression bills are being passed in Republican-led state houses and Republican-led states. And it's important to have federal action, because what we know in the action that Texas Democrats took when they walked out of the chamber, they described it as, this is us begging Democrats in Congress to act, because we need federal standards for voting in this country. And so I applaud Schumer for bringing this up. I think the negotiations are promising at this point, but it's going to be fireworks to see who actively opposes this from the Democratic caucus when it comes down to a vote.
Yeah, I think, Kevin, Juanita makes an interesting point about the put up or shut up part of this deal. And so it's as much for Republicans in terms of pushing back on their narrative. So how do you see Manchin's defection, if that happens on a bill like this, complicating things for Democrats?
Well, yeah, Democrats' biggest problem is their own caucus. And Joe Manchin, this isn't a particularly difficult vote for him to vote against this bill. He could at any time switch parties and be have a lot of power with the Republican caucus. So if Democrats really want to force him, they don't really have much to push him in that direction. He can, he gets elected in the toughest state for a Democrat to get elected in every time he runs. And if they want to push him out of the party, they're never getting that seat back. And he knows that, and they know that. So I think, we'll see what he does. But I don't think this is a particularly tough vote for him.
Well, Juanita, that also leads into the kind of, authority and power that McConnell likes to throw around. And in many respects, you get confused. You think he's still the majority leader, the way he sounds. He's holding strong with his pledge to oppose all of Biden's agenda. With a razor-thin majority such as they have, how can Democrats be more aggressive in a fight like that, that they're trying to push back against this level of obstructionism?
Look, Michael, they need to get their house in order, first and foremost. If you cannot present a united front where you have the 50+1 majority by Vice President Harris, then what are you going to do, especially when you have folks like McConnell? As you mentioned, he has been an obstructionist since he was Senate Majority Leader, now as Senate Minority Leader. And so Democrats, it's clear that they have to go it alone. Get your house in order. And so this is where I'm looking to Schumer to fully whip his caucus and get them. And that's why I think we're going to see a drumbeat of additional votes. So it's this week for the People Act. I expect infrastructure to follow the same course before August recess as well. But first and foremost, get it together, Democrats, because let's be real. Democratic voters, after delivering the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives in 2020, aren't going to accept, oh, well, McConnell wouldn't let us, or the filibuster. They don't care. They want to know what you you did to improve their lives in a tangible way. And if Democrats can't enact this agenda, then they're not going to have anything to really tell or any type of framing for the 2022 midterms.
Well, there are a lot of drum beats out there. We know that, and they're beating. Some folks are beating to a completely different drum, and so that's where I kind of find Republicans right now, Kevin. They held a Faith and Freedom Coalition event in Florida this week. Take a listen to some of the agenda items.
If we are going to defeat the woke assault, then all of us need to wake up.
It's very simple. Go back to the Remain in Mexico policy and build President Trump's wall.
We're going to fight against this woke mob and these radical Democrats who are trying to absolutely destroy this country.
Let me ask you something. Do you miss President Donald Trump? I do too.
Kevin, didn't the country just say no to all of that? I mean, look, this is clearly the party still dominated by former President Trump. And they talk a lot about, it's really evident, the stranglehold he has right now in the party. How is that informing, the moves that Republicans are going to be making, leading not just into 2022, but beginning this November in states like Virginia and New Jersey, where there are big races ahead?
Yeah, huge races. But the most interesting news to come out of that Faith and Freedom Coalition was the straw poll that had Ron DeSantis beating Donald Trump, as you just mentioned at the top of the show. I think that's something to watch. If DeSantis actually were to get into a primary with Donald Trump, it would be a tough race all around. And that's the most interesting news. The other items, I mean, the woke agenda and all the pushback to that, that's just red meat Republican talking points at this point. You're going to hear that from now until 2024, and it fires up the base, and there may be a wave building. Honestly, we will see in Virginia and in New Jersey.
Well, Kevin, I know one thing's for sure. When the former president sees that poll where DeSantis did better than him, look for that other shoe to drop from Trump. Because there will be no love there for DeSantis from Donald Trump. Thank you both. Kevin and Juanita is sticking around. We really